Right, class, we will be discussing the answer key for quiz number 5. So basically, this is the key to the FS analysis and interpretation. So I've already posted your scores on your respective TBLs and the summary of your class standing on your Facebook Messenger. So for those who weren't able to get it correctly, this is the key. And please make sure to study it para maintindihan nyo talaga kung saan kayo nagkamali. Right, let's start. So for our activity, this is the comparative statement of the financial position and statement of comprehensive income of NTTA on December 31, 20X1, which are shown below. So of course, yung first natin, let me just give it. So this one is the comparative statement 20x1 and 20x0, right? So balance tayo sa total assets, total liabilities, and equity. Same in here, 1.4, 1.4. Okay? So here are your current assets and here are your current assets. Non-current assets. So this is your total assets. While for your liabilities, current lang ang meron tayo and then shareholders equity na agad. While for statement of comprehensive income, so we started with sales, then cost of sales, so we arrived at our gross profit. And then there is an additional income, which is the rent income. And these are the operating expenses. So we have depreciation, insurance, bad debts. And lastly, we have other expenses, which is the loss on sale of equipment. So, ang ginawa lang dito, gross profit plus rent income minus depreciation minus insurance minus bad debts minus loss on sale equals your profit for the year. And then for other comprehensive income, wala namang given, so 0. Our total comprehensive income for the year is 120,000 pesos. So while discussing this, you should be having the copy of your comparative FS, financial position, and your statement of comprehensive income para masundan mo siya throughout. Okay? So let's start. These are the requirements. Compute the following financial ratios for the year round of the answers to 2 decimal places. So, paano kayo nagiging mali at tama sa answers nyo? If your answer is in decimal, it should be point and then 2 decimal lang. If your answer is in percentage, it should be, kanwari, 12.09. Ganon, ha? But, if point 4, kanwari, 0.40, and then, ang lalagay yung percentage is 40%, I'll still consider that. Okay? But if the answer, say, for example, is 1.18 and the answer mo is 1.17, yung 1.17 is wrong. Right? Kasi hindi kayo nag-round. Ang instruction is round off the answer to 2 decimal places. Okay. So, let's begin. First is the current ratio. So I just listed the requirements in here, pero I'll be discussing it one by one. Okay, so let's start. Current ratio, of course, the formula is simply current assets over current liabilities. Look on your comparative statement. Your current asset for 20x1 is 730, while your current liabilities is 620. So the requirement is only for 20x1. No need for you to complete for the 20x0. But for those who've already computed it, then just be it. Wala namang problema dun. So the answer should be 1.18. Next, for acid test ratio, we have quick assets over current liability. So your quick assets is simply your cash plus AR. Wala naman tayong marketable security. So that's 570 over your current liability of 620. The answer should be 0.92. Next is your working capital. Again, working capital is your current assets minus current liabilities. Your current assets is 730 minus your current liability of 620. Your working capital is 110. For inventory turnover, it's simply your cost of goods sold and average inventory. So your cost of goods sold, that's your cost of sales. Similar lang yan, ha? Cost of goods sold is similar to cost of sales. So just look at your other comprehensive income. It's listed as 600,000. Now, for those who are asking, ma'am, yung average inventory, paano yan nakuha? Simply look at your inventory for 20x0 plus your inventory on 20x1, add the both of them, and then divide it by 2. So you'll arrive at 300,000. 600 divided 300, that's 2. Next, days of inventory, simply 365 over your inventory turnover. Marami nagkamali rito. So it's 365 over 2 lang. Should be 182.5 days, 183 days. That's fine with me. Okay. Next, AR turnover. For AR turnover, it's your credit sales over average AR. Well, there are no other information regarding your sales. So, sabi lang doon, we assume that the sales or the net sales are all credit. So, kaya 1 million na agad yung ginamit natin dito. But be careful kasi not all the time is ganito yung scenario. There will be some additional information stating na 400,000 out of 1 million is paid in cash. Parang ganon. So, meaning 600,000 lang yung credit sales or yung utang na sales. Right, so we have here 1 million buo over your average AR, same procedure. AR year 1 plus AR year 2 divided by 2. So, we should be getting 8. Next, days of receivable, same lang din, 365 over your AR turnover. So, you have 365 over 8. Should be getting 45.63 days, or you can round it up to 46 days. That's fine with me. Now, that ratio is simply your total liabilities over your total assets. So your total liabilities is your current plus non-current assets. So just add the two of them, should be getting 620. Sorry, your total liabilities pala is your numerator. So your total liabilities, just isa lang naman yun nandun, just the current liability, so that's 620. Your total assets, ito yung current and non-current assets. So 1490 yun. 620 over 1490, it's either 0.42 or 42%, that's acceptable. Next, we have our equity ratio, which is your total equity over your total assets, your total equity. Just look at your financial position, 20x1, that's 870 over your total assets. Again, total assets, current plus non-current. So that's 1490. 870 over 1490, that's 0.58 or 58%. Next, you have debt to equity ratio. Your numerator is total liabilities and your denominator is total equity. So liabilities, look at your statement of financial position, that's 620 over your total equity of 870. Divide mo lang siya. Answer can be 0.71 or 71%. That's okay. Next, gross profit ratio. When we say gross profit, it's the sale minus cost of sales or cost of goods sold, called gross profit. So your gross profit ratio is gross profit over net sales. So yung gross profit mo is 400 over your net sales of 1 million, should be 40%. Okay? Next, we have net profit ratio. Net profit ratio is similar to the profit for the year or your net income. So, net income or yung profit of the year mo na nandun is 120 over your net sales of 1 million. 120 over 1 million, that's 0.12. Next, return on assets. Return on assets is simply your profit of the year over your total assets. Your profit is 120, your total assets is 1490. So 120 over 1490, it's 0.08 or 8%. That's acceptable. And lastly, we have the return on equity. When we say return on equity, is simply your profit for the year over your total equity. So that's 120 over 870, 14% or 0.14. Okay. So that would be it for our first problem or first requirement. So this is the summary of all of it, A to N. Ayan, dito lahat ng formula. You can use it for future references and for reviewing na rin. for your finals. Malapit na yung finals, guys. We're nearing to an end. So, I'm assuming na slowly you're going back na to our previous discussions para makapag-review. Okay, this is the computation and here's your answer. Okay, so dito na tayo nagkatalo sa comprehensive problem. Construct a balance sheet statement using the financial ratios provided. So, binigyan ka lang ng credit sales and then puro ratios na yung binigay sa'yo. So, marami nagtatanong, ma'am, paano yon, paano yan? What you're gonna do is to perform a workback calculation. So, una hahanapin mo saan ba rito sa mga items na to ang pinakakonte yung kulang. 'Di ba? Yung tipong isa lang yung X, isa lang yung nawawala. So, kung ako, titingin ako rito, total assets turnover is simply my assets over sales. Total assets turnover, AR turnover, cash to sales. Sige, tingnan natin ha kung paano natin to isosolve. Okay, here's our answer key. Simulan daw natin sa total asset turnover kasi ito yung pinakakonti ang kulang. So, ano ba ang formula? Total assets turnover is simply your net sales over your total assets. So, if your total asset turnover is 2.5, ito yung formula mo. So, then, itong side na to is 2.5 equals your net sales. Wala namang other info for your sales eh. So, assuming this is your net sales na rin, your credit sales. So, 75K over X, nawawala yung total assets mo. So, yan yung X mo. O, syempre, ngayon, transpose natin 2.5 times X. So, 2.5X equals 75,000. Elimination, para X na lang matira rito. So, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, cancel yung 2.5 dito. X is equal to 75,000 over 2.5. This is simple math. Transposition. So, X is your total assets. Again ha, X is your total assets, not your total asset turnover because your total asset turnover is 2.5. Your X is your total assets. Ito lang yan. Nalipat na siya dito sa side na to. Your total asset is 30,000. So if you are to perform the operation following this formula, total asset turnover is 2.5. Net sales is 75,000. Your X, which is this one, is 30,000. So 75 over 30 should be getting 2.5 to confirm that your answer is correct. So, kung meron ka ng answer sa total assets, ilatag na natin yan para mabuo na natin yung table sa baba. Right. So, yan. So, okay na tayo dun sa una. Nakalagay na rin tayo dito ng isa. Tignan natin ano pa yung next na pwede nating ma-solve out of your credit sales and your total assets and this financial ratio. So, slowly natin siya gagawin. Okay, so next daw natin na madali daw isolve is your debt to total sales ratio. So, debt to total sales, debt is total liabilities over total sales. So, 45%, di ba? Given. Equals X daw. Total liabilities is X kasi nawawala pa siya. Wala pa tayong figure, wala pa tayong information about it. So, X siya. Over your denominator, which is your total sales. So, balik na naman tayo dito sa 75K kasi nga walang other info for your sales. So, yun na yun, 75,000. So, you just need to multiply it. 75,000 times 45% is 33,750. So, your X or your total liabilities is 33,750. So, nakuha na rin natin yung total liabilities. Saan natin ilalagay yon? Here. Okay, so hindi mo ilalagay yan dito kasi this is the sum of your liabilities and equity. Ang total liabilities natin, ito lang, yung total debt. Ang net worth mo is your equity side. So, dito lang natin siya ilalagay dapat. 33,750. Ayan, nadagdagan na. Right, let's move on. Saan pa daw ang pwede? Cash to total assets naman daw. Pwede daw natin ma-solve. Cash to total assets is simply your cash over your total assets. So you have 2% as your cash to total asset ratio. equals X. So, nawawala ang cash mo. Ang total assets, given na ba? Alright, we already have 30,000 in here. So, nandyan na. Pwede na natin ilapag yan. Multiply mo lang 30,000 times 2%, that's 600. X is 600 and X is your cash. So, latag mo na ngayon. Ayan na yung 600 mo. Okay? So, saan pa kaya? Meron na tayong total asset turnover. Meron na tayong cash to total assets. We also have debt to total sales. Next should be AR turnover naman daw. So, kaya na daw isolve. AR turnover, simply your credit sales over average AR. So, your AR turnover is 10 times. So, 10 equals your credit sales of 75,000. So, that's your numerator. And average AR is X. So, again, kagaya lang ng ginawa natin sa total assets turnover, multiply it. So, we have 10x equals 75,000. Eliminate the 10. Okay, para matira lang yung x. And then, dito natin malilipat yung 10 ngayon. X equals 75,000 over 10. X is 7.5. Ma'am, di ba po yung AR turnover is year 1 plus year 2? Okay, since wala naman tayong other info, we are assuming na kung ano yung AR turnover, accounts receivable beginning, ayun din yung naging accounts receivable ending. Okay? So, kung let's assume na 7.5, so 7.5 plus 7.5, that's 15,000 divided by 2. Again, babalik tayo sa 7,500. Ganyan siya ha. Hindi kayo na-assume na 0 plus 7.5. Kasi if you're gonna do that, wala ka nang i-average. Kasi when we say average, it's the average of 2 years. So if last year if this is your beginning year, meaning wala ka pang kailangan i-average kasi isang taon ka pa lang naman sa operation. So, ayun na mismo yon. Okay? Kung magkano makukuha mo rito, that's your accounts receivable. Unless 2 years na to, or unless walang naging changes sa beginning and ending accounts receivable mo. Okay, so for AR, we have 7,500. Ilatag mo na yan. Next that we need to do is to put the total current assets. As you can see, wala tayong non-current, diba? So, total current lang. This statement of financial position is actually a clue na for you to get the answer. Okay, you just need to stick to it. So, your total asset is also your total current asset. That's why nilatag lang natin to. Now, let's just perform the work back. 30,000 minus 600 minus 75. Your inventory should be 21,900. I'm seeing a lot of you guys na ang formula for inventory turnover is net sales over average inventory. Hindi naman yan ganun eh. Numerator mo should be cost of sales or cost of goods sold, diba? Refer to your module. Your numerator shouldn't be your net sales. It is your cost of sales or your cost of goods sold, which is unknown at this time. So, kaya maraming nagkamali dito. But the best way to perform the operation is to work back. I admit this problem is kind of distorted, especially dito kasi yung cost of goods sold is sobrang laki as compared to the sales. But then, this is just your credit sales eh. So, mag-stick na lang tayo dun sa given. Pero, I feel na kulang yung info, but it's solvable. Okay? So, for those na nagkamali, dito sila mostly nagkamali kasi ang kinuha nila, ang ginamit nilang numerator is 75,000. And then, inventory turnover. So, that shouldn't be the case. Kasi ang 75,000 is sales, not cost of sales. Right? So, yun ang majority na naging mali nyo. Okay. So, okay na tayo dito sa left side. Ito na lang. Kukompletuhin na lang. Ano ba pwede kong masolve dito? Current ratio daw. Kaya na daw isolve. So, for your current ratio, sabi kasi doon, current ratio is current assets over current liability. So, your current ratio is 2 times. Ayan. Then, current assets, alam mo na ngayon na yung current assets pala is similar to your total assets. So, latag mo na. Current assets is 30K. Your current liability is X. Ito yung hanapin natin. Magkano yung current liability? So, multiply lang. 2X equals 30,000. So, eliminate para matira lang yung X dito sa left side. So, X equals 30K over 2. So, X, which is your current liability, equals 15,000. So, current liability daw yan. Dilapag natin dyan, current liability. So, almost everything nakuha na natin. So, kung may current liability ka na at may total debt ka na, you can just simply work back for your long-term debt. So, that's 1875. Again, paano nakuha? 33K minus 15,000. Long-term debt is 18,750. And again, accounting equation, asset equals liability plus equity. Your asset is 30,000. Your liability is 33,750. Di pa balanse. Ma'am, magkano kaya yung capital? Your capital is, okay, so total liabilities and equity should be equal. Okay, so 30,000, 30,000. Your net worth, para mag-equal yan, is negative 3,750. Ang dami nagtatanong, ma'am, meron bang negative na capital? Meron bang negative na equity? Yes, there is. Ang tawag din is deficit, wherein mas malaki yung liability or yung utang mo kesa sa assets mo. Wala namang problema ron. Okay, so this is your answer. Net worth mo should be negative. Okay? So, pointing system, paano? Your activity 1, A to M, so that's 14 points. For your activity 2, every blank is 1 point, so total nun 10 points. And should have your proper heading. Again, marami pa rin sa inyong walang proper heading. There's a corresponding point for it. So, total of 25 points. There are some of you na na-late mag-submit. Again, same rule applies without any exception. First hour, minus 5. 1 hour and 1 minute up to 2 hours, minus 10. 2 hours and 1 minute, minus 15. 3 hours and 1 minute onwards, minus 20. Okay? So, total of, kapag na-late ka ng pasa ng more than 3 hours, 5 points na lang yung maximum maximum points that you can get. Kung perfect mo yon. If not, wala pang matira sa'yo. So, please, please, please be mindful of the deadline. Again, I've already presented you options kung paano nyo mapopost yung sagot nyo. It can be posted through Messenger if hindi talaga accessible yung Moodle nyo. But everyone na wala namang reason, please, let's utilize our Moodle or your respective TBLs. Okay, so that would be it. And thank you for listening. Hope you understand the financial ratios. Again, if you have questions, clarifications, please do not hesitate to reach out to me via Messenger. Okay, right. Bye-bye.